Cheers, friend.
I feel like that was like a movie popping open noise that mine.
Cheers. Welcome back to the reaction phase, everyone. Week. I don't know. We missed last week.
Josh, no, your intros suck. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the reaction phase. You guys know my name is Josh. I am here with the kitchen table homie himself. I don't know which one was supposed to point. I know, dude. You're on this. You're on the screen. What's going on, man? We missed a week.
I missed
Get out of the way.
I missed you. Like we were just chatting. Like it's weird, and I think we need to apologize to the viewers. Viewers, we are sorry that we missed a week. Yep. Last week was crazy for Josh. He was in the Pro Quest. He was streaming it up, producing hours upon hours of video gameplay for this game, Flesh and Blood. Good job.
10 dude. Hours, almost 4K freaking views on a 64-player Pro Quest. So when I got home that night, I was like, dude, I think I have to go to bed.
This 1,300 person podcast doesn't mean anything, Louis. Get out of here.
That is not true. This is my favorite content.
That's what I have the text from you that said that.
I don't think you
said that. I don't. There's no text.
I might have had too many to drink, but no. So it sucks. It sucks that we missed.
I don't think you would even say that if you were drunk. I don't think you have that in you. That
I don't.
Pride. You're no George. You like I have the two polar opposite co-hosts. It's great. I get to be myself, and I get to interact with the two polar opposites. It's fun.
So what does that make you the mean one on this podcast? And I'm the nice guy?
No, I'm just Louis. Can I just be me?
Yeah, and you're horrible, and I think, those things that you do anyway. No, so it was crazy. It was a crazy week. You had a crazy week, too. I have been getting blasted with Cavdeen's Market. Is that it?
Cavdeen, and he's a character in Flesh and Blood. You should know his name.
Cavdeen. I don't box open. I don't know how to pronounce these things, dude. Cavdeen's Market.
We did massive weekend this weekend at the shop. We did like a launching of the store hour, like the summer hours, and huge push for Magic. And it was good. It was really good. We had like a 20-person modern tournament. It was great. It was like our first big
stuff too.
What? Yeah, we gave away like almost $2,000 worth of product.
You got to talk to George about running a business. I don't know.
So if anybody wants to buy anything, CavDeansMarket.com, please help.
Well, no, dude, it's been awesome, but we didn't get a chance to chat. Last time we chatted, what did we even talk about? Like spoilers? We just got like Icelander spoilers, and we were talking about ProQuest and Starvo meta, and I feel like the entire world has shifted since then.
Well, yeah, and today we're going to get into spoiler season. We're going to talk about the heroes. We're going to call them brother, sister. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the power level, and we'll talk about power level and power creep, not because we necessarily think that that's existing yet. It's definitely too early to see, but this is a good topic to talk about whenever you get spoiler season. So we'll do that. And then we're going to talk about tinfoil predictions. What did you want to call it?
I wanted to call it tinfoil hat time because I like my alliteration.
It's like a party for like 8-year-olds. Like tinfoil hat time, yay!
First of all, that's most of the things that I say are just super exciting to 8-year-olds. So let's not demean me directly. But I do want to do my favorite tradition. Hold on, I want to do my favorite tradition, and I didn't start thinking about this till like 3-4 weeks ago. I want to tell people who are currently listening to this podcast where they can find this podcast. You can find this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And it never occurred to me that was silly until like 4 weeks ago. I was like, wait, to hear this, you have to be consuming this podcast somewhere.
And don't forget that you can go subscribe to each other's YouTube channels. Over at Kitchen Table TCG. Josh is at Hometown TCG. We alternate channels each week to help, algorithms and help people we believe in each other's content.
So. Yeah, it probably hurts the algorithm, but it's fun and we get to hang out. By the way, did you just hit 7K?
I hit 7K. Yeah, what should we do? We gotta celebrate somehow. I don't know.
You hit 7K, you just give me 7K. Boom.
There you go.
Done. Let me know in the comment section if you just want Louis to give me $7,000 for his. No, man, that's huge. Congratulations. Cool. The chase is on. I will continue chasing you. I want to catch it, baby. So bad. It won't happen, but I freaking want to.
You can have it. It's weird, man. We got into content creation a little bit last week, and people actually kind of liked it. So maybe we can touch on it this time. Like the growth rate for, I think, most Flesh and Blood channels, but certainly my channel, has been much less since Tales of Aria than it was before then. Like like it almost feels like it's plateaued, and so like I didn't even see it coming. Somebody was like, "Hey Louis, you realize you're about to hit 7K?" And I was like, "Oh crap!" Like it just hasn't been on my radar because I haven't been growing at the growth. I used to be at like up 500 to 700 subscribers a month, and now it's like 200 to 300, which is great. Like but like you don't pay attention to it as much because it's not like always on your radar. We haven't had a celebration in a long time, so I'm stoked. I want to do something to give back to the community. I just don't know what that is yet, and I've been like completely slammed. My wife is in the middle of working 7 days of night shifts in a row. And then I just did this like major. I had like 3 giant events at the shop this weekend.
You just gave away all of the product at the store.
Like I had my mom come out to watch the kids. Like it was just like a whole thing. So like I have like been completely like out
and
of
it shows. First of all, you look just exhausted. I mean, look at yourself. This is not the best appearance you've made on this channel.
My wife gave me a haircut the other day.
Oh, she did a really good job actually.
Yeah, I wear a hat. So it doesn't really matter.
So, I wear a hat to honor you, and no, my hair was all crazy. And second of all, it shows that you've been doing all this work because your content background has really taken a dive. Like the last content background you had was sick. What's going on? You got like half of a tripod in the background going on there. Like what?
I filmed a video.
What happened to the baller? The shelving, all the
the same shelf. It's now white. It's lit.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Yeah, but you're only showing like a shelf and a half.
You've got glare going on your background. At least you can see my stuff.
I'm not at 7K. I'm not at 7K. Am I at 7K? The expectation's not there. I'm not at 7K. I don't own a game store. Get it together, dude. What are we talking about?
Wow. All right, let's talk. Let's get into it.
It can't just be all good things about Louis.
I feel like I'm on a podcast with George now. All right.
Oh, never mind. I take it all back.
Part 1, brother, sister. So we got spoiler season going. Congrats on your spoiler card, though, dude. Congratulations.
Dude, thank you so much.
Awesome.
I got to tell everyone for weeks I was stoked because my card was Stoke the Flames. I got to tell everyone how stoked I was for weeks. And to me, like, this was my little, like, haha, I gotcha.
I gotcha.
I am doing, can I tell you what I'm doing from here on out?
You're at what?
I'm going to have the only, I don't know if I want to say this. Other people are going to start copying me.
That's fine.
I'm going to have the only sealed collection of spoiler cards. Because they send me a digital asset and they send you the physical card, I will never open another spoiler card from LSS. I will keep them sealed, and that's my collection. I want to collect sealed spoiler cards from LSS. I'm not going to open them. They will be completely sealed as LSS sent them out the door.
That's interesting.
How many sealed spoiler cards do you think there are right now?
I thought you were going to ask me how many I have.
No, I'm not George. I'm not George. But
I don't think
the answer is one.
There are any sealed? Just one? You did keep yours sealed?
Yeah, I told you.
Wow.
Yep.
They're not in any like actual sealed thing unless they've changed it since I got one. Yeah. It's just like a show. Oh, okay, so they did put it in like a seal.
Yeah.
Like it's not like resealable.
I didn't check. I don't know. Oh. I'm not gonna risk it.
That's cool. Well, do you want to talk about spoiler season now? Or you just want to brag about your sealed collection?
I wanted my sealed collection. Is it a collection? It was a collection of one. I want to talk about spoiler season. I was just saying I thought that was cool, and I'm stoked about it.
That is cool. Listen. I'm sorry. Let me restart.
Chill out.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
I hate you. So talk about what are we talking about first? You did the slides. Which one are we talking about first?
We're doing brother sister heroes. We're going to talk about the 2 heroes and spoiler season in a whole. I am stoked. Get it?
I hate you.
I am so stoked for Dromai. Dromai, Ash artist. I don't care what.
Oh, it's Captain. You. All right.
Absolutely stoked for her. I committed myself to say that this is gonna be my new hero, and I know it's crazy. Louis playing Flesh and Blood again. It's nuts.
Okay. All right, dude. Okay.
I love the red theme, and like for me, it's just it's like I didn't really like Guardian, but I always like admired that Guardians had this like blue theme to them. It like makes the deck kind of, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe it's just like I think in basic colors, but it helps you feel like the deck makes a lot more sense when you're like, all right, I know what the blue cards are really there for, right? Like,
Sure.
And like I like the red kind of theme, like the pitch a red card theme. I think that's cool. I think it's a really cool mechanic. And then I mean, dragons are just freaking cool. I mean,
first, you just hit the nail on the head, dude. Dragons. Spoiler alert: dragons are cool. Like,
so we just did Commander Legends pre-release, and I did like all dragons because it's Commander Legends. You know, it's D&D. So like I was like, man, we're getting so much dragon stuff from everybody this year. It's crazy.
Dude, I think this is sweet. I like the design shift, right? They took something simple of the game, the pitch mechanic, right? Pitching things. Yeah. And they did this with Prism. I think it's interesting, by the way. And maybe you have a little bit of male bias here or something with Guardians or something. You like blue pitch for Guardians is awesome.
I never played Prism.
Yellow pitch for Prism. Don't care.
Never played Prism. And like, when people play Prism against me, I don't pay attention. I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on.
There's a glaze that falls over the eyes.
I played I did the Blitz Precon thing that I did, you know, like did the videos to how to play the Blitz Precon, which, man, like I wish anyway. And then I never played Prism again. I was just like, it's not that for me.
Well, I like when they do stuff like this. They reward you for deck building a certain type of way.
Yeah.
But just like Prism, there were certain things that were more difficult to play and difficult to do because instead of being able to pitch a blue, have go again and a ton of resources, do whatever, you have to have this plan. And that gets like tighter with Dromai here, right? Because you have to play a red card, but if you're playing a ton of red cards, like how is your pitch going to be affected? I think it's really cool. It's a really neat aspect of deck building.
Most of the cards are pretty cheap though.
Most of the cards are pretty cheap, I mean, you need that. We saw the Icelander stuff, right? It's got to be cheap. There's so much tax in that deck.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a great point. Like, both of these heroes that we're going to talk about today get completely wrecked by freeze mechanic. Like the ice mechanic, it's like
it's definitely
Frostbite is a rough spot for both of these decks, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. It's cool. Like I do sometimes feel like the decks kind of build themselves for the new heroes, the talent heroes, because the card pool's so like pretty small. Like if you played a red card this turn, dragons you control have go again while attacking, right? Like that's her.
So you got to use the new dragons.
Well, it's like, of course that's going to be. It kind of locks. It almost feels like the new heroes when they come out. Like there's a like this is the deck. Like it's a little bit like one dimensional.
Okay.
As the more talented they get, which I think is fine. Like as a pretty casual player, I think it's fine. It'll be interesting to see how that competes in the competitive sphere.
Now this is one of the reasons I just want to touch on that. One of the things I loved most about my favorite set, Tales of Aria, the best set in Flesh and Blood.
That's your favorite set, really?
Yeah. And if you just shut up and listen, I'm about to explain why it's the best set. It's because you have Lexi, and like you said, the decks for these heroes build themselves. However, we've seen over ProQuest Season 2, there's two viable Lexi builds that can get there. You have this Lightning build and you have this Ice build. So you have Lexi and you have a little bit of versatility there. And in some of these decks, there's even kind of the idea of hybrid, something like Oldhim, where you get benefit from Earth and Ice cards. You don't need to be hyper focused, stuff like that. Oakenold's crazy powerful. So that's why Tales of Aria, pinnacle of game design. Same thing you have. The deck can be super easy. New players can pick it up, build it, play it. But for the refined players, man, there's so many different like niche avenues and choices you can make that can make the deck super cool. I'm wondering how we're going to get that. I'm wondering if there's still going to be two ways to play Dromai.
Maybe. I mean, like, I don't know where. I mean, we're still super early in spoiler season, right? But
big dragon Dromai, little dragon Dromai.
Yeah, maybe. But like, I mean, you're still pitching a red card to create an Ash token and playing a red card this turn. How much more can you really do? You know what I mean? Like,
sure, yeah.
Like that's really the goal. Maybe it's like what dragons end up being the kind of go-to dragons, right? Like which one of those like works in the current meta. maybe there's sideboard tech into like which dragons you choose for, specific matchups, that kind of thing.
Your dragons are your versatile slots based on matchups.
Yeah, like that could be super cool.
That could be sick. I mean, okay. So, it's like the early rendition of the auras with Prism. Remember, before this heavy aura build of Prism, the new auras from Everfest and stuff like that, people weren't playing the package of all 12 auras from Monarch, right? They were like, one or two Genesis is good here, but often the other two were left out. It would have been 16. Odoreth, Parable, Merciful, and Genesis. Some of those were kind of left out of the fray. It wasn't until we got some support where it's like, I can actually go like a focused build around this. Maybe Dromai is very similar, where we're going to have dragons as support, but on their own, they can't quite get there yet. So people are going to figure out a different way to play her. Then we'll find support. But you make a good point. I wonder if the decks will kind of just build themselves. Like, I wonder if it's going to be super clear when you open your first box of Uprising. You're like, I get it. Like it slaps me in the face.
Yeah, well, I think like that's one of a lot of the very, very heavy focus on gameplay people, like who don't care about the collector market at all. They're like, why can't we just do like a legacy game where like everybody gets the cards, and like that's like what legacy card games are, right? Like, hey, here's your deck, play the deck, and then there's competition, which there's a world for that. I don't like that stuff because I like the collecting side and like the collectible side, but there's a realm for that. I do also. I want to chat about Aether Ashwing because this is, the Ash cards. I guess we should warm up the people for how you get one of these. But you get your Ash token
every time you pitch a red card, and there's some things that make them choose.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Let me pop it up. So, every time you pitch a red card, you're gonna get the Ash token. Which is just a material, which is a new thing, right? So this is a token ash. It's a material. When an ash is under an object, that object has phantasm, which have we seen much that applies to yet?
No, but it is when ash turns into a dragon and attacks, the dragon attack has phantasms. You can block it with a 6 and destroy the attack. So that actually destroys the dragon.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, and then how do we transfer? Yeah, so this Rake the Embers is going to be like the key card in this deck. It's a common. You'll have it in 3 colors. It costs 1. So again, you are pitching 1 to do what you need to do here. Create an Ash token, then transform up to 3 Ash you control into these Aether Ashwings. I want to talk about this card because I think the design space on this card is super cool to chat about because this does 2 really cool things. It's got Arcane Barrier 1, which I think is a huge solution to what's been a semi-large problem, which is like how do you make sure that you always have Arcane Barrier
right
without like giving up your entire inventory slot. And then also in limited environments, now you don't have to have Arcane Barrier in the equipment slot. So I thought it was really cool that they built in Arcane Barrier into like these token side. That's like it's kind of like a secondary thing to the card, right? I think. Yeah. I mean, but and then attacks for 1. So I thought that was kind of cool that the design space on that's really sweet.
Dude, I think you're spot on there. I really like when I saw Arcane Barrier on there, I was like, this feels like a bigger deal, especially in limited, than like most people are probably giving it credit for. I didn't think about the fact that it was the solution. Like, I don't have to necessarily draft Arcane Barrier equipment, right? Or if I'm playing the super low to the ground build and my equipment, maybe Dromai's equipment is hyper important to her strategy, where it's like Kano. If Kano doesn't have Storm Striders, right? It's like, oh, this feels bad. So it's really cool. It just provides this layer of versatility. But I'm gonna throw you a curveball, and you might not be ready for it. If you're not, you can't pull it up. That's totally fine. But the card Silken Form, to me, is incredible. Now,
you're gonna be impressed with how fast I pulled that up. It's up there. It's up there, ready to go, baby. Thank you to the Kitchen Table TCG Discord server for having thing. If you want to be part of that, you can join my Patreon.
I get out of here. That's awesome. Actually, I'm a patron, so that's fine. But Silken Form, I think it's a really cool design space for equipment because it's got this new ability Quell, right? If your hero would be dealt damage, you may pay 1 to prevent 1 of that damage. And then if you do, destroy Silken Form at the beginning of the end phase. However, Silken Form has an instant ability on it. Destroy it and transform an Ash you control into the Aether Ashwing we just talked about.
Yeah.
So it's this arm piece of equipment that you pay 1, you can prevent a damage, and then still use its ability, right? You can get the block from it, still use the ability. It's a really cool like thought that it's never come to mind. I've never thought about doing this before. Block with tunic, remove tunic counter, right? To float the resource or whatever. But I think stuff like this is really cool.
Yeah, it's almost like they're like, hey, how much stuff can we fit on the card for value without making it completely like overpowered? So like they dropped any blocking of it, and it allows them to like. I agree. Like their design space is really cool in this set.
And the versatility to block arcane versus physical, however, at a cost, right? You have to pay for it. Unlike regular equipment where you just throw it out there, you got to pay the resource cost here. So no, dude, stuff like this is super cool. I think Dromai is going to be really fun, but I gotta tell you, I felt the way you feel about Dromai. About
everyone's talking about FaB.
No, that's
everyone loves FaB. The competitive teams are all about FaB right now.
That is, first of all, that is not true.
And did you see? Oh my god! I almost texted you. I almost tried to get you to fail again. Did you see the fake weapon that everybody was talking about?
Yeah,
I almost texted you and was like, "Oh my gosh, this is such a cool weapon! You should do a video about it."
I knew it was fake. As a man who's extremely plugged into the competitive team, whose competitive team has been to 6 ProQuests and won 5 of them, by the way. Yeah. As I'm just saying, I'm not saying that that's Team Hometown TCG is not. I'm just implying that it very well may be, and I might be plugged into this. No, FaB's is cool. I think FaB can do a bunch of stuff, and I hate Oldhim so much, and FaB can kill the shield. He can kill the shield. Let's go.
He can.
Sorry, you can bring up FaB. Kill the shield.
FaB's up.
Stupid shield. All right, let's talk about FaB.
FaB looks like a beast. Look, there's like, what's happening behind him? Where can you stand in this world and not get burned how he's getting burned right now?
The art in this set.
He doesn't have a mask on. How is he surviving?
What do you mean?
Like, it's got to be like 4 billion degrees where he's standing. There's fire right behind him.
You wouldn't understand. He's surviving based on pure badassery. And you're like, oh, no, everyone loves FaB, so I hate FaB. So you wouldn't understand.
I'm anti-FaB.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the brother-sister battle between FaB and Dromai, I am Team Dromai.
You've slipped into the waifu culture. Okay.
All right, Team FaB. I'm out. I'm done.
That's my bad. I forgot.
God, you're gonna make me not play the game again.
Let's go. No. So FaB, a couple interesting things here. A dash-like ability. So we've explored the game space before with starting the game with like a different aspect. Now dash has a blank hero text. Oh, do you want to enter? Go ahead.
Show me another game that lets you do something, starting your game off with something anywhere. Hats off to LSS for being like, screw the norm. You don't get to have everything in your deck. You can do different things and creating fun environments with that. Like that is I think like the creativity, I have to say, like the creativity that goes into the design space of this game is incredible. I know we get into,
bud.
Yeah, it's incredible. I know I've criticized the balance issues, and I still think that's super important. And that is because I know a lot of people who have had issues with that and stopped playing, and that hurts. And I get frustrated by that. But the creativity and the desire to push to the edge of what is acceptable for TCG design space, to say no, you get this card, put it in your graveyard. I mean, think like if you started a Magic game with Arclight Phoenix in your graveyard.
If some Magic deck was like you could just start with a card in your graveyard, the whole game space would be broken. Yeah, it would be insane. Ley lines are already a problem. They're instant sideboard tech. Oh, they're in your opening hand. Slam.
So like I think it's just super cool to see the pushing of the design space, and I think that needs to be said and talked about. But
it is, dude. It's sick. It's a really cool way to play the game, and they do a great job. Just touching on your comment about the design space, they do a great job where it doesn't take us down that Arclight Phoenix path, right? Where it's like, oh, you started with this in your graveyard, so now you win. Right.
Yeah.
Let's think about Dash. Dash functions with that item, and it gives her the ability to either create tempo or design, but it doesn't break Dash. Right. That design space has to be so difficult to be like, hey, it's like Kano. You're going to get to play kind of outside. There's an aspect of your game that functions outside the normal gameplay. You get to use it, and you're still not like just instantly broken. They deserve huge props for that. That's insane. And FaB starting with something in his graveyard that then there's a clear benefit to building these long combat chains, getting that back, and this rupture and these hit effects, right? It's a really interesting way to play the game, and it couples well with kind of the meta we have going on right now. Let me think. You got all these frostbite tokens and stuff, so you have someone trying to prevent you from creating these chains. You have the ability to get on the front foot and create the chains anyway and take that tempo against decks that notoriously don't block great. I think this is one of the most interesting times in Flesh and Blood, and it's because of things like this. I could do a whole 30-minute diatribe on FaB, so I need to like stop myself on why I think this is just super cool design. But I'm excited. What do you think about
super good?
See, I think FaB seems great. I'm not here saying it's underpowered. I made the mistake with Starvo. I was like, no.
Yes, you did.
Starvo sucks. Sean took the L.
Sean, Team Kitchen Fables lead head team guy. Sean.
What's that title?
I don't know what his official
lead
manager. I guess he's manager.
Guy.
He's in charge of the team. He's the GOAT. Okay. He texted me 15 minutes after the Starvo reveal and said, "This is the most broken crap ever." 15 minutes. It took him 15 minutes of looking at the card, and in half an hour he had a deck built that was like basically what everyone was ended up running.
Well, I guess that's why he's the lead head honcho Chiva of a team, and I'm not.
I have not talked to him about FaB, but from everying else I've
he hasn't texted you and said FaB's broken, and it's been more than 15 minutes. So I think we're safe. I think we're safe for more than 15 minutes. So go ahead. Talk about the second part of the power, though. I'm interested in your take on this.
All right, let me pull it back up. I think I deleted it. Hold on, let me go back.
The second part of the power is a once per turn instant pay 3. Return a Phoenix Flame from your graveyard to your hand. This ability costs 1 resource less for each draconic chain link you control.
Again, it's going to be free. This is going to be free. If you're playing the deck right, this is going to be free.
It can be, but it doesn't. You don't always get to do what you want when you play Flesh and Blood. You don't get to play solo. This isn't PvE, dude. This is PvP. You got to get in there and your opponent.
Do you want to talk about how good this card's going to be in PvE? Because we can talk about that.
No, I think it's cool. It's I don't know. I think this is neat. There's so many decision points you can make with abilities like this.
What's the decision points?
It's can you afford to pay 1, essentially cycle a card from your hand from a Phoenix Flame to get some kind of benefit? At what point do you cycle a blue out of your hand for an attack that possibly does 2? If you don't have draconic chain links, you just have some regular chain links. Is this used to close out games? And then there's also mechanics in the new set, I believe, to banish cards from discard piles. And if that's the case, do you cycle a card to respond to save your Phoenix Flame just for that? Like, there's so many things going on with the second part of this ability, and I can't wait to see how this plays out.
So, the question, probably dumb.
Yep.
We haven't seen the rules, though.
Sure.
You can have 2 in Blitz or 3 in CC Phoenix Flames in your deck, because it's an actual card, right? Like, yes. you can have those in your deck.
Yep.
Now, dumb question.
Dumb answer.
Okay. Can you have 3 in your deck and then the Phoenix Flame that starts your game in your No?
No, that comes out of, that comes out of the deck. I'm assuming that has to come out of the legal playable cards. Now that's an assumption, right? But I'm assuming that must come out of the legal playable cards. I don't believe it. It's like Dash. Dash starts with an item on the field. However, the item
doesn't Dash read that you have to choose a card from your deck?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. That's a great question. Comment section. I'm sure you've already told us.
FaB TCG.
So I don't think so. I'm assuming the Phoenix Flame has to be from the deck. And while you're looking at that, I do want to talk. In my spoiler video today, I talked about Phoenix Flame as a design aspect and the fact that it's a token, right? So when you found out about this Phoenix Flame...
It doesn't say from your deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you found out about this Phoenix Flame card, you were like, if I'm playing limited, what if I only get one Phoenix Flame? Like, that's not great. The fact that it's a token that you just get to add to your deck in limited environments lets you draft these heroes and still focus on your strategies, knowing you have that base, you have that constant. That's risky, but man, that could be freaking sweet.
Do you think we see much happen from Dramai with the Phoenix Flame?
Yes, and I very good authority. Okay. Yes. There is a card from Dramai that's going to interact with the Phoenix Flame in a big way on very good authority.
Did you just spoil somebody's spoiler card?
Very good authority.
You're not supposed to share spoiler cards.
Gosh, I didn't share a spoiler
card. All you people who don't follow the rules, I don't get it.
This is not from someone who has a spoiler card. This is someone who gives out spoiler cards.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So,
yeah, anyway, so Phoenix Flame, crazy. It's going to be, you're going to see this all day in limited.
Someone clip that take. Yeah. Phoenix Flame, crazy. Sure.
You're going to see this all day in limited.
Mm-hmm.
All day. This is going to be, when you're playing limited, you're going to run into Phoenix Flame 100 times.
Yeah, until you start banishing them from their deck, or you play Icelander and you can't get up to 3 Draconic Chain Links. That's true. The game is going to be sweet. I feel like there's going to be so much back and forth. They're leaning into the instant mechanic with different classes now. And there's so much more back and forth. My big complaint of Flesh and Blood coming from Magic was when I started like playing with Welcome to Wraith stuff. I'm like, I can't interact with things that you're doing to me. Like, you're doing things, and then I get a chance to stop things. But I don't, that interaction's not there. The interaction with these newer sets is insane. Super glad for classic battles. Much harder to teach new players.
This set looks like the interaction will be there. I wouldn't really say Starvo was a whole lot of interaction.
I don't count ship it. Like, what do you want?
You don't count, like, why don't we count Starvo? You can't have an opinion and not count like the hero that's been in the game as the main hero for like 3 months.
He's LL. He doesn't exist. No, you're right. You're right. And my big complaint with Starvo is you couldn't interact with the trigger at the start of turn. There was no trigger that went on a chain because no chain existed at the start of turn, right? This start of turn effect. And that's my big problem in the design space. If I were to complain about one thing, which again, it's the best gameplay experience. I am not knocking FaB here, but I don't understand why you can't interact with things like that. Why these triggers don't happen and give your opponent a chance to interact with them, especially because we're going into a design space with far more interaction. So the future is going to probably offer more and more and more interaction. The fact that you can't interact with Starvo, I don't like that. It doesn't make sense to me.
Phoenix Flames are going to be crazy. Like, looking at Rise Up.
Yeah, dude. Like, what?
Has Dominate and Plex X, for X is twice the number of Phoenix Flames. So it's 8 dominated minimum.
Now, but you have a theory about this, and you tipped your hat when you're like, oh, we're talking about the two heroes, the brother sister, right?
Yeah.
You think that's in the lore?
I don't know. I don't remember if it's in the lore. Probably is. But their specialization is the same, which is, I mean, it kind of hints to like they're connected somehow. I would assume 100%. That it's brother sister.
Okay, so you're thinking brothers. I think brother sister's cool.
I think that's in the lore. I don't memorize the lore.
We suck at lore.
Lore's not our thing. Listen,
if anyone wants to fill us in on lore,
I'm a big fan of lore. I'm not a big fan of reading. Like, give me the lore in a movie. Oh, did you read the classic battles thing?
No, it's here from when I featured what contained in the product. I didn't. I suck.
Have you played?
Yeah, dude. I had so much fun. I played with John. We did a whole video where him and I got together, and we've been playing FaB forever. We just jammed classic battles, and then we stopped recording and just kept playing classic battles.
Nice.
We're so lame. We're so lame.
It's great.
It was like a Saturday though.
I had a couple guys learn how to play with it in the store this weekend. I did a test where I didn't teach them how to play. I've known them for a long time. They were in my commander group a long time ago. They came back, they just moved back around. Anyway, so I was like, hey guys, try out this game. Here, take this Classic Battles, try it out. And then let's see how you did. They did not do very good.
I wish there was a video like walks you. We talked about this. Walk you through the first 4 turns. We don't get to it. But anyway, that's Dromai. That's Fae. I think everyone with all the spoilers, everyone forgot. Like when Icelander stuff dropped, everyone was like, "Oh my god, I'm playing Icelander. This is sick." And now the other stuff drops, and no one's been like, "Yeah, I'm still playing Icelander." Everyone, whenever a new hero drops, it was like, "I'm playing that one."
Yeah. All the illusionist stuff got bought out. Like Luminaris got completely bought out, and it's like, guys, there's gonna be I know, right?
It's a light illusionist weapon.
It's because people don't understand how to play. It's so funny.
A lot of people doing buyouts for
sure. Is it light illusionist?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. Right. And that I know that's 2. I'm 2 for 2 today.
That's hilarious. I didn't even like. I just heard a rumor that people were buying out, and I looked up. I was like, "Oh my gosh, people are buying out." I didn't even like think that it's not regular illusionist.
Think of a piece of equipment that just puts on tons of pressure. It's ridiculous. Like Mask of Momentum, ridiculous. So much pressure. They announced that there was an illusionist and a ninja in the upcoming set, and phantasmal footsteps, and everything went to the moon, and Mask of Momentum didn't move. And I was like, did people just stop reading after the first I don't understand buyouts. Like, why? And now Mask of Momentum's like, oh yeah, oh crap, that one too. Like, where was this 3 months ago or 2 months ago or whatever it was? I don't know. Buyouts are crazy.
WTR boxes are probably too cheap right now. There's just so many of them.
Like alpha?
No, unlimited. Anyway, let's talk about power levels and power creep.
Okay, so
let's pretend we are not in any way saying that these are overpowered. Creep, There's no way to know this until
you can't know this yet.
Unless your name's Sean. There's no way to actually know this unless you're on Team Kitchen Fable and you're that good at the game. There's no way to know this.
5 for 6.
But let's just pretend.
Let's go.
Let's just pretend like there is power creep. Do you think, I have a question for you. Do you think that new sets have to push the power to some degree?
Okay, so yes, but not to keep people interested. I think new sets, and if you look at, I'm going to use Magic as my baseline again, because it's the TCG that's been around for infinity, right? And they keep crushing it. You have to keep exploring new spaces. And this is something FaB, I mean, we touched on it today. FaB explores these new and interesting design spaces extremely well. And that's risky because Starvo, like super risky. Things can go horribly, horribly wrong. However, the more design spaces you explore, the more chance that you're going to open Pandora's box into a strategy or something that is more powerful. And once that exists, you have a couple options. It's ban that strategy or realize this is part of your game now, and you have to start playing around. You have to give ways to interact, ways to disrupt that strategy. So I think power creep is a natural side effect of aggressive and interesting game design.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, that's great. What do you think? Like,
I think that's
that's great.
I think if you want to sell boxes, this is a weird thing for Flesh and Blood.
Sure.
Because other than Limited, outside of Limited, if you are a Guardian fan, if you're like, no, Flesh and Blood, I play the Guardian.
Shout out Jim Williams. Let's go.
There's nothing here for you.
No.
It's pointless. This set is, and I think Flesh and Blood, it's in my opinion, biggest pro is also its biggest con. In my opinion, Flesh and Blood's biggest pro is the feeling, and I heard this weekend too, when I was teaching some people how to play, that it feels like an RPG where you take on the role of your hero and you get to level them up and get equipment and like play with them as battle. And so then you have this connection to your hero. And like what that does, there's a guy who I had taught play like 2 years ago who came back in this weekend, and he picked up a Azalea, and he always just like got dominated back then. And
no pun intended there.
He was like, so did Azalea get any better? And I was like, no, she did not. Well, I guess
disagree. Everfest has got a lot of cool Azalea stuff. Back-to-back ProQuest top 8s on Azalea. So okay. I see what you're saying. You're making a good point. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but like you're married. A lot of people specifically casual people get married to their hero, and then it's like when a new box comes out, it's like nothing super interesting. So like I think like that's a power creep thing. You almost need it. You almost need it to sell the box, but in Flesh and Blood, it's a little weird because if you make it that you're if you make it that this is your hero, that you have to now play Dramai or you have to now play Fae, it kind of like makes people like, well, I'm not reinvesting in $800 worth of legendaries. Like,
sure,
like the barrier to entry. It's like changing a modern deck. Like people who play modern, they don't really like changing decks. They just stop playing modern until their deck is now viable again. You know what I mean? Like
at the more casual end of the spectrum, that's too real of a statement. Yeah.
Like I mean, like I see it all the time. Like, so I don't know. I think it's a very, very, if there is a set that should be underpowered, in my opinion, it's this set, because I can't tell if you're coming back or not. You're doing weird things with your camera.
I'm working on it.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep this going.
Keep it going.
Me? If there is a set that like needs to be underpowered, in my opinion, it's this one. Because I would, if one of these heroes, oh, there we go, the close up angle, love it. You've always looked better when your camera's blurry and it's on the side of you, for the record.
My camera just said internal temp too high. I've never seen buddy. That.
You're too hot.
I got the camera you told me to get. Now I'm scared.
It's funny. My camera works fine. It's the same camera.
The same camera.
But like, if there's a set that needs to watch the power creep and power level, it's this one. Otherwise, it's like, oh man, like I hope that this one really gets I hope it gets it right.
Do you think that could be solved through a more aggressive, and not aggressive, when aggressive, I don't mean like more powerful, but more aggressive use of the generic concept? You look at cards like E-Strike, CNC, Razor Reflex, Sink Below, Fate Foreseen. These are just generics that are in a set that can make anybody better or worse, right? The introduction of some of these cards can actually take decks out of the meta and make them harder to play. Like CNC clearly makes Lexi a harder deck to play. Like it's just the way it is. So do you think maybe from a design aspect, there's an underutilization of the generic slot? Like people still buy Arc and they darn sure don't want Kano cards. They're chasing CNC and Art of War and Skullcap and things like that.
It's interesting. Have you felt like those cards have become less played over the last year?
Yes. Yeah, I have.
Like, I feel like those cards have become less relevant over the last year.
They've become less relevant, but there will be a time they're negated by other things that can also be pushed out of the meta. Let's use CNC for example, right? CNC is negated by the introduction and existence of Crown of Seeds and its popularity. Yeah. Crown of Seeds is a card that says CNC is 2 for 5 damage, right? Which kind of sucks. It's not a great rate. So because of that, the card got less powerful. However, you and I can both see a world where Crown of Seeds is no longer played, and now CNC becomes that card like, oh, I have to play it in every deck. For a while, ProQuest Season 1... Well,
now it's a red card. I mean...
Are you thinking what I'm thinking, dude?
I'm thinking what you're thinking. Yeah, I mean, like, Dramai's like, Command and Conquer, baby.
Oh, I can't play Dramai. Too expensive. I'm out. I'm back on Fae. Let's go. But
can't you get the white border one? It's also expensive. It was a joke. It was just a joke.
It wasn't a good one.
Thanks.
Boo to you.
My jokes aren't funny, but they're free.
This is quality content. Right?
Nobody paid. Nobody's paying for this content. My jokes
you don't charge people for your content? No. Oh, okay. Sorry, homies.
It's on your channel anyway.
So CNC is an interesting card, but like we can both see a world where Crown of Seeds, especially with Starvo out right now, rotates. And now CNC is impressed. Like, look at Unmovable. This is what I was getting at. Unmovable for a while became like, oh, all of a sudden, every deck has to have 3 of these in the board. It felt like. Yeah. Like, there was all of a sudden this high rate of Unmovable. But now, as Starvo shifts, and let's say both these decks, like we think, are going to go create these super wide, aggressive chain links, Unmovable is just a bad rate. So now you're like, I'm out on Unmovable. So these generic cards give people a reason to buy at one point or another. They might not be great right away, but generics give you a reason to keep coming back. And we haven't, like, Tails had none.
Yeah, and like I think this is fair. And I think if you get into my next point, which is like power levels sell boxes. I mean, like, okay, if you have high power level in a set, it's going to sell the box. Okay. And so that's great for LGSs. But without the generic cards, it just limits the amount of people who want them. Like, this is where I think Flesh and Blood has its biggest challenge for increasing sales. Is like, if you're not playing these 3 heroes, there's no sense in the box. Look at Tales of Aria. Like, if you ban cards from like some of the cards from the set, and you like, I mean, like, then now things aren't relevant. What happens? It's so focused on the heroes, and that's where generics definitely help. So I've said since the first time we saw talents that, like, oh man, if you don't have generics and if your talents don't retroactive, like, we're getting new talents every single set, every single main set, like, it's not going to help the investment for your stuff. Like,
for sure,
it's just not going to do it. So I don't know.
I think you're spot on. I've never thought of it that way, but I've always viewed the game as someone who's like if these 3 heroes come out, I want to play all 3 decks. Like, I've played every deck. I know. I agree, and that's what I'm saying. I agree with you because I've always been jaded or always looked at it through my goggles. Who's like, these 3 heroes come out, I have to play all 3 heroes, right?
Yeah.
I know people, as you were talking about it, I know people, good friends, locals, people I've played this game with for, at this point, over a year. And they're like, yeah, I'm a Bravo player. And that's what I like. And they've said, I was like, oh, what do you think of Tails? Is like, oh, it's got nothing for Bravo. Or like, Tails is a bad example, like Monarch. That doesn't have any Guardian cards in it. And I'm like, that's never resonated with me until you brought this up. And that does make a good point. And it makes me think that the generic slot is just underutilized. I'd like to see, like, generics in everything, and they don't have to be CNC. They don't have to be E-Strike, right? I'm not saying there has to be a super powerful generic in every set.
They also could just be CNC. Like, why? Like, how is there not? I mean, maybe there is a CNC reprint in.
Well, do we know if there's generics in Uprising yet?
I have no clue.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know.
I don't think anybody can know that.
What do you think? Oh, I guess we're not there yet.
You want to get there?
No, I'm not there yet. This is an interesting discussion. I like this.
I think we get a Fandale's summer tunic that, I don't know, it's got something connected to one and it's on fire.
Fandale's fire robe. Let's go.
Like, I don't know. I also, though, like, as much as I say this all stuff, like, when we saw the fake ninja weapon, my initial reaction was like,
that I knew was fake.
Gosh, these stupid, they printed a better Kodachi. And I've said since the beginning, if they print a better Kodachi, that's the easy power creep. Boom, bingo. Like, if you print a better Kodachi, like, how do you make Kodachi better?
They went backwards. They had Romping Club and they printed Bone Basher.
Yeah, I mean, that's in the pre-con.
Downshifted.
Dude, I've gotten so many people be like, so many Reinar fans be like, how the heck did they print a brand new Dory with a brand new weapon? Like that's good, that's fun. Well, and then they like print the same Rhinar with like this stupid weapon.
They did that because Lewis, it's a product for new players, and yes, it is. And OG Dory is difficult to understand. It is difficult to play Dory for new players. This Dory, much easier. That's why they did it. We're not, and I get the final say.
You need to go watch the professor's video. The professor and I agree on something.
I form my own opinions. I don't.
I said the opinion before the professor did.
Tularian Community College, and I think that's plagiarism, and you would fail at your college course.
I got reamed by like a bunch of people in the community for saying the product was overpriced, and then now everyone's on that train since the professor said it.
I don't think if you got reamed, that's.
I'm just on I'm on a martyr status right now. I don't know.
I see that. I said the product. I said I made a video that was just like I love this product for new players, and almost every comment was like, this it would be great if it wasn't overpriced. It would be, and I was under fire. So if you're being under fire for the opposite,
I'm not.
I don't understand what the community wants. I'm confused.
What were we talking about before that?
We were talking about tinfoil hat theories. No, we were talking about power creep, dude.
Yeah, we were talking about Rhinar.
And the generic slot. Yeah. And Rhinar.
Anyway,
yeah.
I think we could throw in like some generics in every set. That would be super helpful.
I think that would be cool. Now, is that harder to design for? Totally.
Yeah.
100%. But you sent me, this is cool to talk about, and we'll just touch on this and then we'll move on. They're expanding the team. From what you can tell, people are putting out Twitter notifications saying I've accepted a position working with LSS, helping game design, gameplay aspects, things like that.
He's a Magic player, right?
But how sick is that? Like, people, not only that, but they're proud about it. They're like, heck yeah, I'm joining the LSS team.
It's a dream, man. That's a dream for a lot of people. Just like opening a card shop is a dream for a lot of people, like designing card games.
Yeah, but they dreamt big. You opened a card store.
Ouch.
I have to ride the line. I'm riding the wave. Ouch. You like it? You like what I'm doing here? Is it working?
Ouch. Burn. Burn.
Boom roasted.
Boom roasted.
Boom roasted. All right, let's
Dwight, I think ass. Boom roasted. Angela, sorry, I didn't see you over that grain of rice.
People are not here for the office quotes. This is what makes us the worst podcast. It's you.
Gumbo's got a better body than you, Jim. Boom roasted.
That one gets me every time. All right.
All right. I can keep going, but I won't.
Please don't.
Tinfoil predictions. My tinfoil prediction is that we get a generic legendary chess piece that is on fire. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, another camera change.
Got you, dude.
No, tinfoil hat theories. Iyslander is the hero to go with.
You suck at this. Findel Summer Tunic, great tinfoil hat theory. Iyslander is the best hero in the set. Not a great tinfoil hat theory. You know what? I'm going to kick us off. I think we are going to get a ninja legendary headpiece, which is super confusing. We've talked about this before. I think they've kind of learned from Briar decks beforehand where Runeblade can run that full suite of legendary equipment. I think we're going to get legendary options in existing slots. What do you think about that?
Legendary options in existing slots.
So right now for Ninja, the legendary for a Ninja right now is the headpiece. It's
the Ninja replacement that you can swap out back and forth.
You could not play Mask of Momentum. It'll be different. It'll play with what Faye wants to, and you could not play, because I think that is a better aspect than getting like, oh, now we have Ninja legendary hands. So now you have to have Mask of Momentum and something else.
That would be the biggest mistake for Flesh and Blood, in my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, if you have to be competitive for legendary
the second part of that would be the biggest mistake.
Yeah. Okay. If you have to have 4 legendaries to run a competitive deck, you're at
we will get there, right? Like
I hope not.
It's not an option.
Why not?
We will. Because if we design cards forever and ever and ever and ever,
but you can design best in slot common or rare equipment. Why does the good stuff have to be legendary?
But then the legendary in the set is one of the legendaries is just a whiff, and like you open it, and it's like, oh.
The legendaries can replace best in slot. So Ninja's best legendary, Ninja's go-to legendary could be a helmet or a headpiece.
Oh, okay. So you're saying ninjas just always get a legendary? Like that's the slot where they get legendaries in?
Yeah. So that the talent system kicks in where it's like you
Vestige of Soul or Carrion Husk.
Right. And so I very much fear that the 4 legendaries is $800-ish. Like that's what 4 legendaries costs.
So at one point, sure, but not only are things getting cheaper.
What's getting cheaper?
But Uprising, the whole goal is supposed to be you can get legendaries without getting them in cold foil in first edition, right?
Yeah, okay, we'll see if that works out, and then we'll talk about it.
We will see, but I think
they didn't change the pull. They barely changed the pull rate to make it easier to get legendaries.
Whoa.
Your camera's doing all sorts of things today.
Yeah, what is my camera has missed you,
and you criticize my content creation skills.
My camera missed you more than I did. It wants to show off its dancing skills.
Legendaries are still going to be expensive. Everyone's like,
they always will. Yeah, sure.
I don't want to talk about it. More people are going to buy.
I didn't mean to take you out of the mood, dude. I'm sorry. We were having so much fun.
I disagree with more people are going to buy singles from the set than are going to open boxes.
I think that's true, but won't that pump the price of boxes? I want to open boxes to sell single set.
That will make the legendaries more expensive.
Really?
Yeah, of course it will.
Okay, so I'm saying, isn't that kind of like a and this is definitely your area of expertise more than mine. Isn't that a self-correcting system? Because if more people buy singles than open boxes, the opportunity is there to buy boxes and sell singles. Because if people are trying to buy these singles and they don't, sooner or later they won't exist.
I did that for Everfest this week. I was able to get Everfest first edition boxes from distribution this week, and I bought them in cracked singles and pulled 2 tunics or 2 skull caps and a cold foil Bravo, and instead it's because nobody's buying the boxes. I've had the boxes up for forever.
Right, but then sooner or later Everfest will the first edition boxes won't be around anymore. So then at that point, then people are like, oh, now I want the box because there's only so many of them less. I can't get them anymore. Now there's that rush of box price goes up.
How many were printed and is it oversaturated?
Sure, but I'm saying eventually, in a world of eventuality, that stuff should all balance out. With Uprising, because it should be readily available, if nobody buys boxes and everyone just goes on MinMax Games fab.com and buys all the singles, and they don't.
Our sponsor.
I mean, I was being subtle, but sure, you can.
No, I take that. My job is to take take that out.
You can be less than subtle. You can be boom, MinMax Games fab, all your singles. Let's go.
All I'm saying is that hasn't fully been the case. I mean, look at WTR. Our WTR legendary is cheap. Mask of Momentum still $150.
No, it was $90.
I just looked up. It's $125.
Before that, it was. I think it went down to $90.
Okay. 90 is cheap though. I don't know where I just don't know where the line is.
I don't think it's cheap, but I don't think it has to be.
Okay.
I don't think
we're in the weeds. Back to tinfoil prediction.
We're in the weeds, and we sit on opposite sides of this. I'm okay with some things being more expensive, and you are, but you have probably a better idea of balance than I do.
I'm fine with things being. I guess the other legendaries are cheap. Tectonic plating is. Oh my god, tectonic plating is $55 right now.
But when the next set isn't, if you want a tectonic plating, you can go get it right now. And when the next set comes out and they announce a Guardian, tectonic plating goes to $120, Louis will be on the reaction phase, episode 69, and be like, this is ridiculous. Tectonic plating is $160. I can't. I'm like, why didn't you could have owned a tectonic plating forever. Sorry.
No, I get it.
You do your side eye roll, passive aggressive.
Listen, I'm learning over the last couple weeks that what I view as an expensive card is not what other people like. I have no problem. Like
it's a different demographic. We're used to the Magic the Gathering and the Pokemon when we were younger, and it was like buying a pack of cards was a commitment. Well, remember that?
The people I play with don't buy $55 cards. That's just not like they don't do that. And
Sure.
So I'm trying to get people to play the game and they don't want to play because it's too expensive.
Have you built? So let me ask you.
Yeah. I built them decks. It's like they want when they look into making their deck better, like, oh my God, that's expensive. And then they're like, should I open a box? I say, I mean, if you open up 4 boxes, you'll hit 1 legendary and have a 1 in 5% chance.
That's not what I'm saying. Like, I think the people that this is targeted at, I'm not saying that anybody can't play this game. The people that this is targeted at is a $55 legendary it's not cheap. It's not like, oh my God, all day, every day, let's buy 10 of them. But it's like, I make that investment, I can have it forever. And that creates the scenario you were talking about earlier, where it's like, I'm a Guardian player. Because why? Because I spent $130 and bought legendary equipment. And that's why I'm a Guardian player. But at the same time, like, you can enjoy the game without that. The two parties just can't enjoy the game intermittently. Yeah. They can't mingle with one another without the party over here saying, I'm intentionally playing a deck. It's the power level conversation in Commander, right?
Yeah.
You have to have that conversation. But a solution to that often can be, like, I bring a deck every week for locals, and I'm like, hey, if you want to play this deck every week and learn how this deck plays and pretend like it's your deck every Tuesday, I will keep this deck the same. If you research things and text me, hey, I kind of want to make these changes, I'll make it. And you can do that, and you can decide, and you can play this for as long as you want, and then make that decision. But if that's not ever an option for you, you're 100% correct. If you're in a position where, like, hey, that $55 legendary is just never on the table, like you and I were as kids, that would have just never been on the table, then you have to play the game a different way. You're right, you do.
So I'm curious, you want to see, what's your favorite hero?
Briar, probably.
So you want to see a legendary best in slot for all 4 slots. Is that already the way Briar is?
It can be.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, it 100% can be.
Okay, I guess we're already there, and I just got to deal with that.
It's terrifying. I agree with you. I have a deck tech on what I call my pet deck. It's not a competitive deck. It's my pet deck. I love playing it. It's so much fun. It will not compete at a ProQuest. But it plays 4 legendary equipment, so it's hard for me to be like, guys, you'll have a blast playing this deck. However, if you don't have the stuff, you just won't play it. Like,
I think the loud voices in our community, particularly with finance,
I thought you were talking about me.
they have no frustration with a $800 deck. They have $5,000 cold foils. It doesn't matter to them, an $800 deck. But when you get to the ground level of, like, interacting day to day with people in TCGs that are not Magic the Gathering reserve list connoisseurs,
sure,
it gets ugly sometimes.
There has to be multiple paths to enjoy the game.
Yeah, this is where armory events come in. Like, man, we got to get people to stop spiking armory events with their $800 decks. Like, it's got to stop because it's going to kill the game.
I don't know if it's going to kill the game, but I agree. I agree with you. When people bring Starvo to an armory event, I shame them. I'm just like, really? You're going to do that right now? Like, that
armory events should all be sealed. Even playing field.
I mean, Sealed's a great Sealed's limited is
now it costs $30 supply.
Yeah, limited's a great way to enjoy the game.
Too expensive.
Boom, roasted. TCGs, take that.
Take that, TCGs. All right.
No, it's you're right. I want to get a last word on this. I want to find a way for the two sides. It's almost like
Commoner.
we have the Romeo and Juliet, and Commoner's a great way. And
I called Popper Commoner.
I said today. Commoner.
I know. I called Popper.
Oh, I thought you were roasting
Commoner the other day, and everybody looked at me like I was in. I was like, "Hey, we're gonna do a Commoner tournament." Everybody was like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh, Louis, you silly goose. No, and I'm huge on Pioneer for this. Like, I have a whole video out about Magic making Pioneer the Pro Tour format because it's great because it toes that line where it's like it's competitive enough, and there's problems with Pioneer. Sure, things need to be banned, whatever. I don't want to hear
Magic the Gathering is the worst game ever, Josh. How could you possibly talk about it?
But however, like a top tier deck is $200 to $250, right? Which is, I'm not saying that's not a financial commitment, but it's reasonable when you look at Modern at $1,600.
It's the cost of one Flesh and Blood Legendary.
It's if you look at $1,600 Modern decks, Magic said, "Hey, we're gonna start bringing everyone back together, but we're gonna like toe in the water. You don't have to take out a second mortgage in your house or miss rent to play in this event," right? So it's, I think there's got to be a common ground that we can find in FaB. We haven't got there yet, but I agree with you. It would be interesting to find a common ground there.
I mean, it is what it is. It seems like we're already outside of that range, so I'm just wrong. I guess you have to now sell competitive Flesh and Blood more like modern Magic.
You sure? Yeah. Sorry, I just got a text from the lovely lady upstairs that little baby C is going crazy with tons of kicks. So we got a little karate student on her. I already did. I did earlier.
All right.
No, I did earlier. I
missed that.
A lot. I've missed. Dude, I've been kicked. How weird of an interaction is that? By the way.
No,
by the way, like Kristen, my wife gets to interact with this child on a super personal level, and finally, after all this time, I get to be like, "I am your father. I love you so much," and I lay my hand, and she's like, "Bam!" Kicked, and I'm like, "Oh, great! This is a wonderful relationship we're starting. You're just kicking me."
They don't stop kicking you.
No, and they're just kicking me. Like, what is
trying
this?
To like get her to go to sleep. I'm like, stroking her hair when she's in bed, and she's like starts kicking me. It's like annoying.
Yeah,
she kicks her sister. She kicks everybody. Kicks everybody. It's just the way it is.
I just gotta tell you, not a great first impression. Not a great way to meet. The first time I met you, I didn't kick you.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Anyway, tinfoil hats. Yeah, this set's gonna be great.
Dude, I think this is so much fun. I'm excited for Uprising. I'm in that phase where I know that I'm not the norm, but I'm like I just want to build everything. It's
great to like know that like I'm gonna be the person that opens some more boxes. Like, I didn't open hardly any Everfest. Like, I don't have a full set of Everfest. It's the only set that I didn't collect.
I finally do. Let's go.
It's the only set I haven't collected from FaB.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm finally getting rid of all my FaB bulk, so I have to go through and make sure I have everything. Now
I'm terrified. Like I pulled the cold foil Bravo when I opened some boxes for the shop. I was like, oh, I should keep this because like I don't have one. I think I have all the cold foils at this point.
Oh, and you sold the Starvo?
I sold the Starvo. I was like, listen, Starvo. I don't know, man. $70 is still expensive for a hero that can't be played.
It can't be played.
Oh wait, Living Legend game. You can play it against Chain.
No, I asked you about buying that, and I gave you a price, and you're like, "Yeah, that sounds great." It wasn't great. It was great at the time. No, your advice was great at the time.
Might be.
Drop the ball. We'll take the L. No, this has been awesome, dude. I missed you. You this last week. This was awesome. Give me one event that you're running at Cavdane's Market this week that you're most excited about before I let you go. What's the event you're most excited for?
We just launched online. We're doing we're calling it old school, or let's see what we're actually calling it. We look at the announcements. We're calling it
by we I mean me,
Legacy CC. So we're doing a Legacy CC league. So it's just WTR, Arc, and Crew. No talents. Legacy.
You're
CC
so
league.
Stuck in the past, dude.
No, it'll be fun. I've had a lot of people ask for it. So We're doing that in the online, and then we're doing a Pauper tournament tomorrow, and I get to play Pauper, which I haven't played Pauper. I've got a Pauper Elves deck, and
That's pretty sick.
I was practicing with it all weekend. Freaking so much fun. Like,
dude,
so much fun.
I played Pioneer Wizards, and I had a blast.
Yeah.
I played Pioneer Rogues at an event, and I had to play Deathrite Shaman.
Ooh,
I had to slam down a deck, and all the regular Pioneer players were like, that card sucks. And I was like, oh, you just wait. It gained me 2 life against burn.
Speaking of power creep, go look at some modern cards and what their prices used to be, and then go compare it to that stupid monkey.
yeah, Ragavan is a little bit nutty, but dude, I missed you so much. I can't believe I'm super excited. They're doing 128 person road to nationals up at MinMax. They got approved for 64 person pro quest that they filled. Now 128 person road to nationals. That's draft. Do you know how long that day is going to be?
That's gonna be terrible.
128 person draft. Are you going to make the trip?
We'll see. I've got a road to Nats too. I off the top of my head, I don't remember what day it is because we just planned it.
I just can't believe there's going to be 128 people in a place jamming Fab. I lost a bet. I got to wear a cat sweatshirt in some video.
Is it sold out?
The ProQuest was, nice. Which I knew it was gonna be. I just wanted to help.
Yeah.
That's not helping in a cat sweatshirt feels way worse.
All right, let's call it. I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
I'm tired too, dude. This has been great.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, for being a part of it. Just as Josh's channel, so he can close it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging out. Until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh.
And I'm Louie.
And remember to be kind to the people around you.
Oh, it's so weird to hear somebody else say it.